reside in the world, I realized that it was early, well, early but late for me to be eating. It's after 2 o'clock and I realized I hadn't had anything to eat. I know that sounds crazy, but that is the truth. And so I decided to harvest another bag of potatoes. So I just dumped them in my handy dandy bucket. Just trying to maneuver because there's a hole. If you haven't seen my previous video, I recommend that you go take a look at my previous video about using this burlap sack and weed barrier for growing potatoes. So I am just trying to get these potatoes out of the sack without throwing soil into my face or getting any of these slugs on me, because again, if you haven't seen my previous video, I recommend you go do that, because the burlap sack and the weed barrier is a breeding ground for slugs. So I am going to try to take this weed barrier out of here, again without throwing soil all on me. And I'm going to place it over by my chairs where the birds, I just dropped a couple of slugs right here. So we got maybe some breeding slugs. Can you guys see that? Sorry about that. I cannot see my camera that well because of the sun. This is not my usual time of being in the garden, so I hope you guys can see what I see. But I've got some slugs here, lots and lots of slugs. So I am going to take them and I'm going to put them in an area where the birds can find them and have themselves a lovely lunch. So let me take this weed barrier over there right quick. And then I will get back to the work at hand, which is lunch for me. So I am just going to put this weed barrier down. Let the birds have a piece. The birds and the fish. I'm just leaving it here for the birds and the frogs. Back at business at hand. And again, I do apologize. I hope you guys can see. I can't see anything because it's so bright outside. So I am just going to, there's another little bitty slug on the top of my potatoes. Did I get it? Yeah. So I'm just going to toss him over there, out of the way. Oh, I see another one down there. We want to get him out of the soil. Toss him over there as well. Okay. Now, this is what these potatoes look like. I'm sure many will say, oh yeah, those are ready to go out. I don't know whether or not they're ready to go out or not. I try to leave them in as long as I can because I want to get as many potatoes as I can. And the potatoes that I've harvested thus far were my early potatoes. Now this bag of potatoes, this was a gift from one of my employees. I've never experienced this type of potato before. This is a store-bought red potato. I don't even remember what kind they are. And this soil is really compacted. This is a different kind of soil than my other potato soil that you saw me harvest. So it's really compacted. Let's see. I've got lots of creepy crawlies in here. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you know how I feel about creepy crawlies. This is a red potato. This is a store-bought red potato. And I don't remember the name of it. If I have that bag in my shed, which I really don't think that I do, but I will take a look. I'll look for it. And if I have the bag, I will put down in the description box what these are, and I will let you know. All I can remember is that these were store-bought, that she had in her cupboard or somewhere in the house. They forgot about them. The kids brought the groceries in, and they got misplaced, I guess. And so she goes, "Oh, I got something for you." And I got great potatoes because of that. Now, like I mentioned, I do believe that I'm harvesting these a little bit sooner than I would feel comfortable harvesting, because I like to harvest I like to let them go as long as I possibly can, just to get some nice sized potatoes. And I have a bucket right behind my blue bucket that has a little bit of water in it, and I'm just putting them in that bucket right behind my blue bucket. See, these are all pretty tiny. I don't see any holes or any insect disturbance with them. They all look really good. They're just tiny, and I don't mind tiny potatoes. To me, I kind of like a tiny potato. That way, for me, it's just easier for me not to overeat, because I really like potatoes, and I can go in when it comes to eating potatoes. And if I got a potato as big as my head, I feel like it's a challenge. I need to eat that whole potato. I just can't let it go. So I try to not eat really big potatoes, because I can go all the way in, y'all. All right. So yeah, these are pretty tiny. So I am not gonna make you all sit here and watch me pluck out all of these potatoes. I am going to go through this like I've done on my previous hauls or harvests, and then I will let you all see what I end up with. So I shall be back. Okay, I hope you guys can see. I went into the shed and I picked up, this is a 5-gallon bucket. I got this from a very famous Texas barbecue establishment. They give away their 5-gallon buckets. They usually have, I think, sauce in them. And so I am using this 5-gallon bucket, and I've got some more snails in my container that I'm going to toss out. I hope you guys can see. All I did was take my potatoes out. I didn't get much of a harvest in this particular bucket or bag. So, yeah, it is what it is. I'm happy to get anything, large or small. So what I did was I put some fertilizer. I used the same fertilizer each and every time, and I put that already back in the shed. I had my white bowl that had my fertilizer mix in it. The fertilizer that I use a plant tone, blood meal, bone meal. I use either black cow or worm castings, but you use whatever you have. You don't have to do the exact same thing I do. Use what you have, use what your budget can afford. So I'm just mixing this up because those potatoes would have already sucked up the nutrients in this mixture right here. And because, now that I'm thinking about it, let's see, it looks like I have coconut coir in here, but because this mixture was a bit denser than I would have liked for my potatoes, I'm going to go and get some more coconut coir, and I'm going to put that in my 5-gallon bucket. Then I'm going to mix it up and do half this, half coconut coir. That way my next batch, because I'm going to put my nuggets back in here, and we're going to see if I can get some more potatoes to grow. So I will be right back. You guys can see what I'm doing. I went in the shed and I got some coconut coir and put it in my bucket. So now I'm going to scoop some of this soil into my bucket that I've already put fertilizer in, and I am going to mix it up with this coconut core until I feel comfortable that I have a good mix in here and that this soil will be lighter than what it originally was for my potatoes that I just took out. I'm going to use my scooper to get all the way at the bottom. I hope you guys can see. It is after 2 o'clock here and the sun is out. I'm not used to gardening at this time, and I just came out to get something to eat. So because of that, I am out of my gardening element. It is hot and it is very bright. So I'm just going to scoop a little bit of soil at the bottom and mix it up. And I do still have some roots in here. I could swear I saw some worms, and I just want to leave some organic matter so that they have something to eat. Because having worms in your pots, not a bad deal. It's not bad to have worms. That means they are happy, you've got good soil. The problem are those pesky snails and slugs. And unfortunately, due to my experiment, I do have slugs in my potato area. But they haven't done any damage to my potatoes. So that's a blessing. I'm happy for that. So I'm just putting some more soil in here. And if I see something that looks like a slug or a piece of wood that is going to cause a problem, I'm just going to take that out. And I'm just continuing to add soil and mix this up with the coconut core. Now, if this is your first time joining my channel, coming to watch, subscribe if you like. Stick around and watch a few more videos if you need more time to see whether or not you like what I put out. But if you haven't seen any of my previous videos, I purchased coconut core bricks and I moisten them down. So that's what I'm using. And this is a potato skin from that last potato. That was a sweet potato. And I just take those coconut core, mix it down, and add it to my existing soil. Some of my soil is from my compost because I make my own compost, and some of it is store-bought. But use what you have. If you don't have any compost that you've made in your garden and you have to go buy a bag of soil, go buy that bag of soil. Don't let anyone make you feel like you're not a good gardener because you are purchasing bag soil. You do what you have to do. You do what you want to do. It's your garden. Garden your way. All right, I'm just going to put some more soil in here. And I know you guys are probably sick of me right now with these potatoes, but these potatoes is what's in my garden that needs to be harvested. So that is what I am harvesting. So I cannot and will not apologize for harvesting potatoes. I got sticks everywhere, you guys. And like I mentioned in my last video, I love harvesting potatoes. It's just a beautiful surprise every time you dig a potato out, I tell you. Just love it. My grandmothers would be so proud. They're looking down from heaven at me, watching me garden, saying at least I got one grandbaby that paid attention and is using the lessons that I passed, that I tried to pass down. So I feel good about each and every harvest that I have. If you saw my previous video, okay, I got a new neighbor who has a new dog, and that dog is not accustomed to me being out here, so it's letting me know that it's unhappy. But that's all right. It'll learn. It'll learn that I'm friend and not foe, and then it'll stop that. I know you all hear my other neighbor's dogs bark a lot. Those dogs don't bark at me at all. They bark at people passing by. So whenever I'm outside, those big old dogs that you normally hear in my video, again, those are not mine. Those are my neighbor's dogs, and they don't bark at me. But this new dog that's outside, telling me that it thinks that I should be in somebody else's yard versus my own. Yeah, that's me, dog. Okay, I got beetles galore. Beetles, and more beetles. Okay, so this is all I'm going to put in here for right now. And like I mentioned, I do believe I've seen a few worms in my dirt, in my soil. I'm not going to fool with them. I'm going to leave them there, along with these few leaves, brown and green, as well as the roots from the potato, because those worms need something to eat. Now I'm just going to shake this bucket to firm down that soil a little bit. And I hope you guys can see what I'm doing here. Again, not my time. These are the potatoes that I just harvested. I don't have a large harvest. I have less than a pound. So I'm going to take some of these nuggets out of here. These really tiny ones. I'm going to eat them. And this is just an experiment for me. I already have some nuggets already in the soil. So I want to see, can I get a harvest of some more potatoes from these little bitty potato nuggets. They're tiny little potatoes. It may take a while. It may take a whole year. I don't know. But I do know that if you leave a potato, you'll get a potato. So I want to see for myself whether or not I can get some more potatoes. Now let's see if I have any more in here I want to sacrifice. I don't have my reading glasses on, so this tiny little bit of stuff is not always easy for me to see. Alright, I think that's all that I want to put in here. Just these tiny little bitty nuggets. The rest of them, well, I'm going to eat those. Alright, I hope you guys can see the potatoes that I harvested. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get him out of there because I don't want him fooling with me. That's an earwig. Bye-bye. See, this is why I use gloves. I'm not a huge fan of the creepy crawlies, and I know I've been playing in the dirt ever since I was 7 in my grandmother's garden. I still don't like creepy crawlies. I don't care how many gardens I have, no matter where I am in the world. Yeah, I don't want them. I know they're there, but as long as they're not in my way messing with me, yeah, no creepy crawlies. So what I'm doing now is I'm just taking it down two digits, down to my knuckle right there, and I'm just pressing these down. I just moved them around in the soil, gave them a little bit of space, and these are a lot now. These are a lot of little nuggets in here, but keep in mind they're little bitty nuggets. I have no idea how big they're going to get, if they're going to give me any potatoes. This is an experiment. I like science, so just take a few of those from off the top, just like so. That looks like it might be a sweet potato. All right. So I'm going to do a little bit of a firm with the back of my hand, just like so, to make sure that there's contact with the soil. We don't want any air pockets. Air pockets can cause rot, and I don't want any rot. I have a little bit of soil left in my handy dandy bucket. I am going to pour that soil on top, and then I'm going to place this bucket back in Potato Lane, and we'll see if I can get some more potatoes this year or if I have to wait until next year. I'm relatively patient with some things. So this is going to go back into Potato Lane, and I'm going to go inside and have a little bit of lunch. So I'll see you guys later on this evening. I promised I would do when I harvested. Here are my red store-bought potatoes that I just harvested for a bite to eat. So let me zoom in. Like I mentioned, it was going to be less than a pound, and I was absolutely right. And those are my potatoes for today. I have some onions way back in my big old orange bucket that I happen to see are ready to come out. know you all are going to see hunched over. So far, here are my onions. Look at that, y'all. So excited. My goodness. I'm loving this year's harvest.